Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you have been putting in the hard work, perfectly executing your diets, completely crushing your gym routines, checking literally all the right boxes, only to find that stubborn belly fat just absolutely refusing to budge, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to unpack the fascinating science of why that happens. And I promise you, by the end of this, you are going to understand your body in a completely new way.
It's a deeply frustrating reality for so many of us. You're cutting calories, you're getting your 8 hours of sleep, you're hydrating like crazy, right? And yet, that midsection fat remains completely unmoved. Honestly, it's almost like it's mocking your efforts. It inevitably leads you to this "wait, what" moment where you're thinking, what am I doing wrong here? But what if I told you the problem has absolutely nothing to do with a lack of discipline?
Okay, let's dive into this. The invisible culprit behind all your frustration isn't your diet, and it's definitely not your workout program. It is a hormone, specifically a hormone that activates the very second you open your eyes every single morning. It's working behind the scenes before your feet even hit the floor.
That invisible culprit is a biological reality known as the Cortisol Awakening Response, or CAR. Now hold on, before you roll your eyes and think, ugh, another lecture about how stress is bad, let me stop you. This isn't a metaphor. This is highly specific and measurable. From an evolutionary standpoint, this massive hormonal surge dumped by your adrenal glands isn't a flaw in the system. It's a feature. It's a biological mechanism literally designed to rip your body out of sleep mode, raise your blood sugar, and get you ready to move.
To put that into perspective, within the very first 30 minutes of waking up, your cortisol levels can spike by an astonishing 50 to 160%. Just think about that. That is a massive amount of pressure placed squarely on your nervous system before you've even had a chance to brush your teeth. And when that spike gets too high, or when it stays elevated for way too long, well, that's when things go completely off the rails.
So, an over-elevated morning spike triggers a profound reaction in the body, survival mode. A 2017 study published in the journal Obesity confirmed that when the body enters this perceived threat state because of that elevated morning cortisol, it obsessively does one thing: it hoards emergency fuel. And where exactly does it store it? Yep, as deep, visceral belly fat wrapped right around your organs. No amount of crunches can override a hormonal survival signal.
And this brilliantly illustrates a real-world example of this hormone loop in action. Look at this stark contrast. We face obesity rates of over 40% in the United States compared to less than 5% in Japan. So is it just the food? Well, partially, but researchers point to something much deeper about how these two cultures actually operate on a daily basis.
It really comes down to how we start our days. The typical Western morning is this chaotic sprint, completely focused on optimization, productivity hacks, and rushing out the door. The Japanese approach, on the other hand, is rooted in calm, intentional practices designed to protect the nervous system before the day even really begins. They operate on the profound understanding that how you start the day dictates the hormonal cascade for everything that follows.
So, how do we fix a broken hormone cycle? We look to a blend of ancient cultural wisdom and modern neuroscience. I'm going to walk you through a 5-step, completely zero-cost protocol based on Japanese morning habits that will radically reset your cortisol.
Step 1. Asa no mizu, or morning water. Now, the classic Western mistake is waking up and immediately pouring stimulant-heavy coffee into a severely dehydrated body. Guys, you're basically pouring gasoline on a system that's running on fumes and already dealing with a cortisol fire.
Instead, try this. It's a simple 2-minute practice. A glass of warm water, a pinch of sea salt, and a squeeze of fresh lemon. The warm water is gentle on your digestion. The sea salt replenishes magnesium, which is a natural cortisol regulator most of us are completely deficient in. And the lemon, a University of Alabama study actually found that vitamin C significantly reduces cortisol spikes under high-stress conditions. This exact combo sends an immediate biochemical signal to your body, whispering, hey, we're safe. We really don't need to store emergency belly fat today.
Step 2 is natural light. To properly set your internal clock, you just need to step outside and exist in real sunlight for about 5 to 10 minutes right within a half hour of waking up.
Let's move to the science and see how this builds a perfect biological loop. Dr. Sachin Panda over at the Salk Institute has proven just how critical this timeline is. Sunlight hits your retina in the morning, which tells your brain, hey, release serotonin. Later that night, that serotonin converts directly to melatonin, giving you way deeper sleep. The result? You wake up the next morning with lower cortisol and less stored belly fat. It's a continuous, self-regulating 24-hour internal clock, activated just by stepping outside.
Step 3 introduces MAW, which is the intentional pause. We are going to apply this directly to your coffee habit by delaying caffeine for the very first 90 minutes. I know, don't hate me yet.
The key to understanding this is a chemical called adenosine. It builds up in your brain while you sleep. It's literally what makes you feel groggy. Normally, your body clears it out naturally within 60 to 90 minutes. But if you drink coffee immediately, the caffeine doesn't actually clear the adenosine. It just blocks the receptors and hides it.
So when that early caffeine wears off in the mid-afternoon, bam, all that hidden adenosine comes flooding back. You crash hard, your cortisol spikes again, and suddenly you're craving sugar. That is exactly why Stanford's Dr. Andrew Huberman uses this 90-minute delay protocol himself, calling it one of the highest impact changes you can make for your performance. Letting adenosine clear out naturally gives you clean, lasting energy without that destructive afternoon hormone tax.
Moving on to step 4, Sampo, the morning walk. It's time we completely challenge this Western go hard or go home fitness culture.
Look, a study in the Journal of Endocrinological Investigation shows the results clearly. Intense morning workouts just equal stacked stress. Because your cortisol is naturally peaking when you wake up anyway, hitting a 6 a.m. HIIT class stacks extreme physical stress right on top of that biological spike. Sure, you get a quick 20-minute endorphin rush, but your hormones pay a heavy, heavy tax all day long, keeping your cortisol elevated for hours.
This is exactly why a slow 20-minute outdoor walk is basically magic. Stanford researchers discovered this phenomenon called optic flow. When you're walking outside and trees and buildings pass by your peripheral vision, it creates a specific visual pattern that directly suppresses the amygdala, which is your brain's threat detection center. Staring at a blank wall on a gym treadmill doesn't do this at all. Walking outside physically turns off your brain's alarm system. It isn't just exercise, it's literal medicine for your nervous system.
And finally, step 5, Shizukasa, stillness and tranquility. This might be the hardest one for us. Absolutely no phone checking for the first 30 minutes.
Dr. Anna Lemke from Stanford explains this perfectly. Grabbing your phone immediately subjects your brain to a flood of notifications. Every single alert triggers microspikes of dopamine and cortisol. It forces your brain's operating system into a reactive panic before it's even fully booted up. You're artificially raising your neurological baseline right out of the gate, which pretty much guarantees you'll need more stimulation and generate more stress just to feel normal for the rest of the day.
Okay, let's quickly recap this zero-cost protocol. Warm water first, natural light within 30 minutes, delay that caffeine for 90 minutes, take a relaxed walk outside, and strictly no phone for the first 30 minutes. This entire routine costs absolutely nothing and requires literally zero sheer willpower. It simply allows your nervous system to wake up safely.
So the crucial point is this: your stubborn belly fat is a hormonal problem. It's not a discipline problem. You just cannot out-train a body that feels like it's under constant threat. Your hormones are incredibly responsive, for sure, but they respond to the subtle habits you practice in that very first hour of your day. So I have to ask, which of these 5 steps are you starting tomorrow morning? Drop a comment below to hold yourself accountable. But before you go, think about this for a second. If your body has been fighting to protect you this entire time by storing that fat, what else might it be capable of once you finally signal to it that it's safe? Think about that tomorrow morning when you open your eyes. I'll see you in the next explainer.